Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you some of my favorite scenery for my Rae Lakes Loop hike. And for those of you planning on hiking this trail, I'm going to give you some intel on some of the best campsites and some tips on permitting, so stick around. So in 2019, my cousin Steve and I did the Rae Lakes Loop in order to prepare for our big 2020 John Muir Trail hike. Now this was a trip to kind of test out some gear, get a little introduction to the John Muir Trail before we made our real final push of training. So we did this hike before I ever started taking video of any of my hikes. So this is going to be all pictures, but trust me, you're going to see plenty of good scenery and you're going to get some tips about campsites and permitting along the way. So here we go, let's get started. Steve and I decided to make this a 4-day hike, starting at Road's End and hiking the trail clockwise. So that brings me to tip number 1 already. Sometimes the permit for the Rae Lakes Loop can be hard to secure. So what we did was waited until the quota system was over. In fact, it was just a couple days after the quota system. So all we had to do was walk up and fill out our own permit, drop it in the slot, and we were on our way. Another alternative to the Sequoia Kings Canyon permitting system is to start on the east side, going over Kearsarge Pass through the Inyo National Forest permitting system. That trailhead starts at Onion Valley. After the almost 2-mile flat sandy walk to the junction, we turn left up Paradise Valley, soon hitting Mist Falls. The further we went up Paradise Valley, the views just got better. Our first campsite was at Upper Paradise Valley, near the South Fork Kings River Bridge, which was washed out during the winter of 2016-2017. Now we hiked the trail so late in the season, the bridge being washed out wasn't a problem for us. However, that crossing can be quite treacherous earlier in the season, especially during a high snow year. Here's your next tip. If you're looking to camp at Upper Paradise Valley and hiking the trail clockwise and you can't find a good site before you cross the river, there is an excellent site just on the other side of the river. So if you're hiking counterclockwise, it'll be just before you cross the river. We missed that spot. We didn't see it until the next morning, and we had wished we had taken that spot after crossing. Day 2 is when we hit the Woods Creek Suspension Bridge, otherwise known as the Golden Gate of the Sierra, where we turned south onto the John Muir Trail. Shortly after the suspension bridge, we hit our first lake, Dollar Lake. Soon we had our first glimpse of the Fin Dome, that large rock formation pointing to the sky. Okay, you caught me. I snuck in a little bit of video from my John Muir Trail hike this last year, while on the same stretch of trail. Not too long after Dollar Lake, we hit our next lake, Arrowhead Lake. Now we didn't stay there a night, but I hear that the campsites are beautiful there and less crowded than Rae Lakes. This would be a nice place to stop if you were turning this into a 5-day hike and wanted a short hike leading into Rae Lakes. Now in these next 2 pictures we caught a rare glimpse of a herd of bighorn sheep. They moved along rather quickly, so we didn't get too many pictures of them. Then we made it to beautiful Rae Lakes. Here's my next tip. I suggest camping at the south end of the Middle Rae Lakes. It offers great views of the lake and Fin Dome. The sunset over the lake and the alpenglow on the mountains was just beautiful. Then the sunrise brought new lighting, new views, and new beauty. And the fishing there is pretty good too. Our third morning, it was time to make the climb up and over Glen Pass. But first, one of the locals wanted to say hi. This is a grouse. We saw quite a few up in the Sierra. The climb up and over Glen Pass is pretty steep either way you go. On the north side, a little rockier. On the south side, pretty smooth, but still pretty steep. The top of Glen Pass offers just awesome views of Rae Lakes. It felt good to know that the rest of our trip would be downhill. As we descended down Glen Pass, Charlotte Lake emerged, where some people camp and some JMT hikers receive their resupply packed in by mule. Towards the end of the third day, we got down to the Vedette Meadow area. This was one of our camps on our John Muir Trail hike in 2020. Now, we didn't stay at this spot on our hike in 2019, but it's a good alternate spot. It's only about a quarter mile south on the John Muir Trail from the junction with the Bubbs Creek Trail, which leads you back to Road's End. For those of you who love waterfalls, the Bubbs Creek Trail will offer you plenty. Soon we came across a grove of trees along Bubbs Creek, and we decided to call that our camp for the night. It offered a nice little swimming hole to cool off after a long hot day. We were treated to another beautiful sunset as we made our dinner and got ready for bed. It was now day 4, time to head back to Road's End. In 2020 on the John Muir Trail, we made a side trip down to Road's End. This is the area of trail where we saw the bear.
Unfortunately, we're down Bubbs Creek and we came across this fine specimen. Wow!
Once we hit the bridge, we were back to where our loop started, and now just the flat sandy walk back to Road's End. And there's the Rae Lakes Loop. I highly recommend it for anyone looking for a 4 to 6 day backpacking trip. As always, if you found this video useful or entertaining, please hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.